Hi guys, this is Carrie from The Creative Accent. Today I'm going to walk you through how to embed your Flodesk opt-in form on your website. To do that, I'm going to use my new website template that's built for Showit called Castella. So I'm using the opt-in form in two different ways in this template. First off, I'm using it on the Coming Soon page. So as I scroll down, you'll see there's a short about that where you can introduce your brand, as well as a call to action to start building your email list before you've even launched your website. So you can start to build up a bit of hype around your brand. When I click on this button, you'll see that there is a pop-up where I can sign up for the newsletter or sign up for the waitlist, however you plan to use this. So that's one way that I'm using this embed form. The other way can be found on the About page. Let me just switch over. So on the About page, rather than using it as a pop-up, I have actually, as I scroll down here we go, I have actually just embedded this into its own canvas. So you could use this throughout your website, wherever you think strategically it makes the most sense. You could also use this in your website footer. But today we're going to cover how this actually works on the back end and the different settings involved so that you can see this step by step. Now, a quick note before we get started. If you haven't already signed up for Flodesk, you can use my affiliate link that's in the description to get 50% off your subscription. So now that I'm in Flodesk, I want to go to Forms and choose New Form. And there'll be different types that you can choose from. In this case, I want to go to an inline form, and preferably with a picture. I'm going to take this first one. Now it's going to ask me to choose a segment, and that just means that when someone signs up, which segment will they fall under. So you can create that, or you can select one that you already have made, and then hit Save. Okay. So now I can start customizing this to match my template, to match my brand, to match the style that I want. Now I'm going to design this to match the Castella template, but of course you want to change these settings to what makes sense for your brand. So first of all, I'm going to add in a picture. Let's see, upload image. This is one of my favorites, so I'm going to take that one. And now I'm going to change the background color because I don't want this to be black because that doesn't match what I'm going for. I'm going to go over into my template here that's open and just kind of pick from my design settings. So I'm going to take that very subtle off-white color. And you'll find if you go here under design settings, you'll find all of these codes ready for you as well as the fonts and everything, so that's what you would want to choose from. Now obviously that's to match this template. If your brand has different colors or different fonts, those are the ones that you want to use. So then I'm going to change the background color. Great. Okay. This as well. Okay, now I'm going to change the fonts. I might as well make these dark because otherwise we can't really see them. So let's see, this is my dark color that I'm using. I'm just going to copy that code. I'm going to change my font color here. And I'm going to change it to match the style of the typography in the template. And this is, where are you? There we are. Cormorant medium. And all caps. There is some slight spacing on this one that's already there, but I'm going to take that, I'm going to take that up just a little bit, and I'm going to change the text to something simple. Join our newsletter. Now that's a bit large, so I'm just going to take down the font size here until it all fits on 2 lines. Okay, that's good. Now we have some text here, and that is also going to be in the dark color. There we are, and that font is, it escapes me, let's go check. Montserrat, yes, okay, Montserrat. That one is also available in Flodesk. I'm going to take that down, yes. So, email list with this embedded Flodesk form. Now obviously you want to add something here that makes sense and it's going to encourage your visitors to sign up for your newsletter, but for this example I'll leave it like that. First name, I think we want to require that, and that is also going to be Montserrat. Maybe take it down just a tad. And change it to our dark color. I think I still have that selected. Yes. It's very subtle. You don't really see the difference that much. Nope, that's already in the correct color. Okay. So here, if you want to, you can add more fields. I usually just use the first name and the email address, but you could add last name or even a phone number, but I think most people don't really use that for their email marketing. Let's see, what else should we change here? Okay, so on the button style, I want this to have a white, oh no, that's a transparent background, and this is then with color. Okay, I do want to give it a border, and I'm going to use the blue color. Let me go to my design settings for the border. Just going to copy that. Okay, so I go to, yes, the style, fill color, that can be white, that can be off-white, or that can be transparent, whatever makes sense. Maybe we'll go with the transparent. The border color is going to be my blue. Let's see how that looks. Okay, good, and it automatically updates all of the fields for me. Perfect. Now this is my button color, and I want it to be a solid color, and I want it to match my template, so I'm going to go with the blue. No border necessarily. And let's see here. Might make that just a little bit thinner. And now I'm going to change the font also to Montserrat. Where are you? There you are. Okay, and all caps. Going to take that down a little bit and bump up the spacing to where it matches the template better. Okay, there you have it. I think that's most of our design settings that we need to change. I might take that down just a tad. And now we're ready for the next step. Okay, before we go on to the next step, there's one more important thing to do. First of all, here you can check a preview to see how it's going to look on your mobile device, and I don't really like that. I want my picture to show, and on your desktop, of course. So, image on mobile, there's the setting. So I'm going to check that so that on the mobile device, my image is going to show better. Okay, so the other thing you want to check is the message. So when someone signs up, which message do you want to show there? Now you can redirect to another URL, to another page, or you can select one of these confirmation messages, or here you can write your own. So you can type your own. I'm just going to take this one for now. I think that's good. Okay, now that our design is ready, we're going to hit next, and now we're going to have a few options to customize it. So if you want to enable the double opt-in, you can. That just means that when they sign up, they'll get an email that says to confirm that they want to be put on your list. I think most people choose no, but depending on the laws in your country and the privacy laws, yeah, you might need the double opt-in, so then you would choose that here. I'm going to leave this as no and hit continue. When subscribers opt in, do you want to be notified or not? I usually like to be notified. after this form is submitted. So you want to display the success message that you chose, or you can choose a URL to redirect. Continue, and okay. So now we come to the codes, and this is what we're going to use to embed this into our Showit site. So we basically have two codes that we need to work with. The first is the header code. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go over to Showit. Now I'm working on a coming soon page for this template, and what I want to have is when they click this button, notify me when you go live, that I'll have a pop-up form so that they can fill in their information and that you'll be able to follow up with them and send them an email when you launch your site. It's a good way to build some hype around your brand. So that's what I'm building out for this template. This is Castella. So how am I going to do that? First of all, I've copied that header code, and if you've clicked into a canvas somewhere, you'll need to click on the page name, and then on the right side you'll see the advanced settings. This custom head HTML, that's where you want to put the code. So I'm just going to click, and then I'm going to paste that code into the box that pops up. Okay, I'm going to save that. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into Flodesk and I'm going to copy the second code. That's the inline code. So that's the code I'm going to use to create the form, how it's going to look inside one of the canvases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose add a blank canvas, and I'm going to call this opt-in. So let's make this a little bit bigger, but actually we're going to change the canvas type to window height, and I'm going to bump up the stacking order because I want this to appear over top of everything once it's ready. Now I also want it to be hidden to start because I'm going to trigger it with this button, and I'll get to how that works in just a minute. And let's also make it sticky to the top. So there are my settings for this opt-in canvas. Now let's just make a few adjustments here on the color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an embed code. That's down here, embed code. I'm going to stretch this out. I'm going to fill this space. I'm going to center it. And now I'm going to double click. And this is where I'm going to put that second inline code. And that should make my form appear in this canvas. Now that's just for the desktop view. You can't forget about your mobile view as well. So as I said, this page is still under construction, so I'm still tweaking the designs a little bit. I'm going to make that a bit bigger. Now this here is my opt-in canvas. Let's make that a bit larger. Let's say 600. Okay. I want this to fill out the canvas. I'm just going to make sure that that background color is the one that I want, and then I'm going to stretch this over the whole canvas. Now the code should already be there because that's what I'm working with. That's the embed info, and if you want to check that, you can go here to embed info, and here you'll find that code that we just inputted. Okay, now the next thing that I want to do is I want to make this button trigger my pop-up. So I'm going to select the button, I'm going to go to click actions, and I've already set this, but in case yours has nothing, let's just do this from scratch. So I'm going to have it go to canvas, to the opt-in canvas that we just made, and I'm going to add an action because this canvas, the opt-in, is hidden to start. We need an action that's going to show it. So we're going to show the canvas opt-in. Okay. Okay, let's see how it looks. Let's check the desktop first. Now my hero canvas is coming into view. As I scroll down, I can add a little short about, introduce my brand, and now I have the click to notify me when you go live. So when I click this, it's going to make this pop-up show up. Now there's a couple of things that come to mind. First, I'm thinking, okay, this is a little bit small. I want this to feel a bit more imposing. So I'm going to go and change the settings a little bit. And the other thing is that you're going to need to add a little X out button because the user needs to be able to, go back to the page that they were on. So let's take care of that first. I'm going to go back into Flodesk. I'm going to go back under design. So we left off here with the codes. I'm just going to go back to design. And I'm going to click on here and I see that I can adjust the width. So I want to bump this up a bit. Let's go closer to 1,000. Give it a little bit more of a presence on the screen. Okay, these also I can adjust. The buttons, let's see. Let's go to field sizing and that's going to adjust the text. I can make the buttons a little bit bigger. That's going to help. And also going to make my font a little bit more imposing. I'm going to take that height up just a tad. That's a little bit better. Okay. Now the nice thing is I've already added in the code, so I don't have to change anything necessarily. It's going to automatically update, but I do want to go in and add a little X out icon. So you can do that by going under here on the bottom, and then you'll see the icon option. Now if I go here, I can change the color if I want to. I'm going to take this darker color. Let's take the darker color and I'm going to change the icon. So let's find a simple X. Let's go with this one. Now I'm going to take the size down a bit because that's a bit too large. I want to make sure that it's sitting on top of my frame because I want to, see it over the imagery and stuff. So I'm going to put it here in the corner. And since this is going to take up the whole window, I'm going to lock it to the top. I'm going to lock it to the side. So it's going to stay in that top right corner. Let's see how that works. But first, okay, the design is there, the button is there, but we have to make it function. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to go down here to click actions, and under the actions, I'm going to choose to hide canvas and hide this canvas. So then that canvas will go away. It'll take them back to this initial canvas that they were on when that button is clicked. So let's try it out. We'll go to preview. Now we'll scroll down and click the button. Okay, there we are. It's a little bit larger. That looks nicer. And we have our button here in the top corner so they can X out. Now, one of the things I don't care for so much is that everything else is lost on the page. This is all you see, which is not a bad thing because, if they're clicking to sign up on your newsletter, that's where you want them to go, right? You want them to see this as, yeah, this is the next step. This is what I do. I see that I need to change the details on this button. So first I'm going to change some design settings. This is just personal preference, but hey, I'm going to walk you through it anyway. So the canvas color is this very, very light off-white color. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it just a little bit opaque. So there's going to be some opacity coming through there. Now while I'm thinking of it, I'm also going to go and change, this doesn't need to be send me the code. Obviously you can change this to anything that you want. Download here or sign me up. Let's choose sign me up, or you know what, let's just keep it simple and say subscribe. Okay, now let's go back and let's preview this. So I scroll down, I click to be notified, and now you can see it's updated with the subscribe text now. That's better. And I also can still see a bit of the page that I was on, so I don't feel totally lost if I'm the viewer. So I could still, click out to go back to the coming soon page, or this is highlighted in the middle, but just it feels like you're still in the same place that you were, and it didn't take you to someplace completely different, if that makes sense. So just a few final design notes that I want to share with you. If I go back to the preview and I'm looking at the mobile, I scroll down and I'm going to click my button. Now I see that the text is not fully on the page, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to widen this text box, or this embed form box actually, because it's text that's coming from Flodesk and not on Showit itself. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the embed form on the mobile version. I'm going to make that a little bit wider. Let's try 335 instead of 320, and then I'm going to center it. I think this canvas is just a little bit too long, so I'm going to take that down a bit. And I also made a few adjustments on the desktop version. It's hard to see, I know, when there's no preview here, but basically I resized the embed form to 1,000 pixels because that's what we had selected. If I go back to Flodesk, you'll see it's 1,000 pixels wide. I'm guessing it's about 600 tall. So those are the settings that I chose, and I just put my X on the inside of that corner. So let's see how that looks. I'm going to check the mobile first. Okay, notify me. Okay, that's better. So now newsletter is all on one line and it's not broken up. And you can see how the form looks on the mobile. Now here it's not the same as a pop-up in the sense that, I mean, I could have an X to have it like take over the screen and close out, but I think scrolling down to it is sufficient and you can always scroll back up. Now let's check the desktop version. Notify me when you go live, and there's my pop-up with a little bit of opacity in the background. I put the X out now here inside the box, so I'm thinking that looks much better. Now a lot of these settings, they're personal preference. You know, how do you want your visitor to interact with your site and the journey that you want to take them on. Now I want to show you another option because this is an inline form, so you can embed this directly on your site and it doesn't have to function as a pop-up. So on the desktop version, I'm kind of using it as a pop-up. Now Flodesk has specific templates that you can use as a pop-up, and then you can have that be triggered and it will, you know, just automatically pop up on the screen. But in this case, I really want to use an inline form because of just the way that I want to use the form. Now I'm going to duplicate this page just to show you another possibility. Now I'm inside this duplicate page. Now let's say that I want to forego this whole canvas and I really want that pop-up just to be visible right from the start. So here's how I would change the settings. So I have the embed form, it's all ready to go. I've added in the header code. As you recall, that's this code. I go to my canvas. Now I'm going to change the settings. I want this to be normal, I don't want this to be sticky to the top, and I don't want it to be hidden to start. So I'm going to change all of those things. And I also won't need to close it out because it's not going to function as a pop-up, so I'm just going to delete that X. Now, what I could do is let's just hide this canvas in general for the sake of this example. So we have our hero canvas, and then we could have a sign-up form on the bottom. Let's see how that's going to look. So here I come to the page. As I start to scroll, this will just automatically fill in that space. So if you wanted to simplify, that's another way that you can do it. And you don't have to use this only for a coming soon page, of course. This is just how you could embed one of these forms inside of Showit in its own canvas. So this could be on, on any page. This could be in your footer if you like. Just wanted to kind of show you that distinction. This is what I've decided to do on the About page, for example. So this is the About page, and as I scroll down, I will eventually come to this separate opt-in canvas that I've created, and I've put the newsletter there. So let me show you what that looks like in the settings. I'm just gonna go back. Okay, so I created a canvas. I named it opt-in. I pasted my embed code, that's the second code that we talked about, and I also put the header code under the custom head HTML. Okay, so I also changed the background color because I want it to pop a little bit. So I made it this soft blue color. So that's why you see it against this blue background. So that has been changed in Showit. And the color here of the box is a Flodesk setting. So I know sometimes it can be confusing trying to keep track of it all, but this is essentially how I have created a pop-up, a pop-up as well as an embedded newsletter form. Thanks for joining me on this tutorial featuring my new website template, Castella. I hope you'll give the demo a try. You can find a link in the description below. Have a lovely day.